So, yeah, thoughts on clubbing seals.
Okay.
I'm not for it. I don't do it. I'm a vegetarian, so, I mean, the seal would have to really anger me for me to smack
Club it
around.
over the head?
Yeah, and I don't even know that I would club it over the head. I did, smack it around a little bit, teach it a lesson, show it the error of its ways.
Well,
if I was protecting a penguin, that's what I would kill a seal to protect a penguin.
Okay, yeah. But against common belief, there is actually a logical reason for this besides the cultural reason stated before.
What? You didn't state a cultural reason.
No, people say that it's just because of a culture.
Who?
Okay.
You say it's common. Who?
It's a common debate that we do it as a cultural thing. Yes, that is true.
Who?
The Native Americans use it as a cultural.
Then why do you say we? Because you're not doing it.
Canadian, anyway. But they say
Canadian or Native?
They think that's the
you often draw a line.
Only distinction. But the thing is, due to expansion, we've killed all the natural predators of seals.
Expansion? What expansion, dude? Make sense.
Expansion. We're building along the coastal line. We expand. Development, exactly. We've taken out all the seal's natural predators.
Which would be what?
Killer whale. I don't know. Whatever eats a seal. I never really looked into it.
Then
Killer whales.
Do you know what you're talking about before we proceed further?
Yes, I do. Anyways, that said, seals are a lot like rabbits. Their population can explode.
They're flippers lucky.
Uh-huh. So that said that the seal hunts are actually government regulated in order to keep the population into check and balance. Now, the reason they do that is because of the fish migration patterns. It goes all the way up, all the way to China. So if
you said Japan earlier today.
Japan.
Which is it?
That's the one. Japan. So...
what fish? All fish?
Most fish. Tuna. I think it was tuna.
That was a good guess. That is a fish. You're right. You didn't say elephant. That's you got it at least half right.
No, it's not the elephant fish. I'm thinking tuna or salmon. Either way, if the seals population over booms, so to speak,
over booms,
it will decimate the fish populations in our regions, which will significantly impact the fishing in Japan.
How many fish do you think there are in the waters around Canada? I mean, the fish that are going to Japan. How many do you think?
Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Who can track a fish? It's like, okay, where you're going? They don't have like border control and passport stops.
Hundreds of thousands of fish. How many people eat fish?
Quite a few people.
A rough estimate. How many people eat fish in Japan? Let's limit it to Japan.
Okay, what's the population in
138
Japan?
million or so.
138 million people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except maybe 138. Maybe some people are like me with fish allergy.
Very possible. Probably unlikely because they would have died historically in Japan because they wouldn't have been able to eat anything. So 138 million people in Japan.
Yeah.
Really worrying about a few 100,000 fish from Canada, you think?
Well, no, it'll play an impact. For example, even...
It's just obvious. I'm trying to lead you
hold up. Even fishing villages in Canada can see negative responses from a boom in seal population.
A booming seal population.
Exactly.
A booming, like booming, like they're, I don't even know where I was trying to go with that. I don't know. God, what is the point? So you think there are so many seals and they are decimating all the fish, deep water fish?
They can.
How deep do seals, how far out do seals swim and how deep do they swim? Any idea?
No.
I didn't think so.
Not a clue.
Now,
do you know? Tell me. Enlighten me.
Well, they don't dive as far as some fish can. Why do you think that is?
The waters are too cold and
they have to come up for air. That's the big one. That's the big one. Fish, they don't have to do it as often.
Okay.
So I think that sounds very fishy as a reason.
Well, it sounds like the warm air current.
The warm air current.
The warm water current of the Pacific.
Of the Arctic?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like the Japanese justification for whale hunting.
Okay,
Are you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not actually.
It's for science. They have to kill them so they know how many there are, how healthy the species is. It's a culling, yeah.
Okay. Speaking of whales...
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. There is some big news in Canada, actually. This is big
Very
news.
big
Very
news.
big news. 78 feet of news. Several, 9 blue whales washed up dead off the shore in, East Coast Canada.
How many?
9 were found,
Okay.
which the article reported was 5% of the
Blue whale population.
Which I don't know where they get that number.
But that said,
There's obviously more than that, but
a whale, that's a big carcass. Generally, they sink to the bottom of the water, but...
Such a fucking astute observation. What do you mean they normally sink to the water?
Well,
over time they do, not immediately.
No. Over time they generally do, but when they wash up onto shore, that's a big thing. You got disease risk, you got smell. Apparently they fill up with gases and can pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to poke one with a stick.
Yeah, so this was where? This was Trout River.
Okay.
Yeah, right around the mouth of Trout River.
So the disposal of this carcass can cause some problems.
It's very expensive. This was apparently, there's several washed up around a very small township. And the national government said, well, it's the local government's issue, and local government said, we don't have any means to deal with this.
We can't afford it.
Yeah. So they were looking at whale carcasses for the whole summer.
Yeah. Kind of smelly.
But then I guess one of the museums in Toronto, the Royal Museum, which I assume is in Toronto, because isn't that where the Canadian Royals live? The King and Queen of Canada? They're in Toronto,
Royal
right?
Museum, that might be Ottawa. Nay, say I don't remember.
Wherever the King and Queen live. So they thought...
what? King and Queen? The King and Queen of Canada? What is this?
I don't know. You tell me. It should be pretty self-explanatory. So don't you have a what is it? A constitutional monarchy, right?
To the British Queen.
Okay, where does she live?
We don't have our
Where
own
does she
queen.
live? She lives in Toronto?
No, she has a Buckingham Palace in England.
Good to know. So this museum decided to send some people over to collect them. And what's funny is that after kind of bitching about it, the township decided to change their tune. Several people said another town in the area had a humpback whale wash up dead once. And some local guys, local artisans, spent a week cutting it up, drying it out, and put the bones on display. Apparently it took like a year to put the bones in order and display, because apparently they were not cytologists.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a tourist attraction out of it. Get several thousand people a year. So this small town near the Trout River is thinking the same thing, that we got some blue whale bones.
We can make additional income.
A tourist mecca, for whale lovers and lovers of dead whales.
Intriguing. Mind you, they did have to give a couple bones to the museum, I think.
Well, they're trying to fight to keep any of the bones, because the museum is thinking of taking them all.
Okay.
And apparently it takes a full week to gut, basically to do what they used to do on whaling ships. They got to strip the blubber, strip the skin,
remove the organs,
remove all the muscles, all the all the fleshy material. They got to treat the bones somehow, because they got to separate the bones. So they got to, it's a full week-long process. And apparently you got to get right on in there. So you got to have a strong stomach. Andrew, it's going to take a little while. When you got a job lined up when you get back to Canada? There might be an opening.
Not yet.
There might be an opening. Where you going to the East Coast or?
No, I'm from the East Coast, but I'm going to Edmonton, Alberta. Well, actually, Fort Saskatchewan.
Fort Saskatchewan.
We still have forts in Canada.
Oh, well, obviously you got to protect yourselves against